Hey Stella,
Hey, Amin, how are you?
good. How are you?
Here we go.
Can you see me?
I can. I love the glasses.
Thank you. Hey Siri. Oh, Siri got activated.
Is Siri acting up already?
Yes.
So thanks so much for joining us. And
Yeah, for sure.
just to give everybody a little introduction, tonight's special guest on our CMT Connect webinar series is Amin Lakhani. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Amin Lakhani, yes.
Yes. Who, AKA also the dating coach on wheels. And I'm not sure if you're following him yet, but I'm sure by the end of this webinar, you'll definitely be checking him out and taking a look at some of the exciting work and projects he's been doing. And welcome, Amin.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks. So we're going, huh? Okay, I thought we were having like a little private session before, but now we're going.
Yeah,
This is
we're
great.
live. We have a few
Awesome.
people on, but I'm sure we'll have some more joining us as we kind of move along here tonight. But
Oh, Joy's here.
yeah,
Nice.
Joy's online.
Hi, Joy. I don't get a gorgeous Joy. Come on. I
Aw.
just get an Amin.
I think she might have meant that for both of us.
Oh, okay, maybe. All right, I'll take it.
But just to give everybody a heads up, if you have any questions or comments, there's a little chat box on the screen there.
Hi, Joy.
And so if you have any questions throughout the webinar, feel free to type them in that little box there, and we'll do our best to kind of make our way to those as well.
Cool.
So yeah, I mean, so let's get started a little bit.
Sure.
For those who are not familiar with you, can you give us a little background story and maybe start from your diagnosis or?
Yeah, sure. We're going to start that far back. I was diagnosed at, I think 1.5 to 2 when I
Okay.
wasn't walking by the age of 1. So my mom went to some like specialists and got referred to a bunch of people, and they thought it was CMT, but they didn't know for sure until I got the genetic testing
Okay.
at 15. And then they confirmed that it's type 1B. And then I guess relevant to this webinar, you like you want my background on like how I got to dating coach on wheels and all that.
Yeah. How did you kind of become interested in this subject?
I mean, probably around the age of 8 or 9. No, I'm
Okay.
just
It's a little early.
yeah, I think I was an early bloomer. Those Victoria's Secret catalogs were very enticing for some reason. Um, so I grew up with a disability. Obviously, I started using a wheelchair at the age of 15.
Okay.
And I guess a little bit before that, I was diagnosed for sure. I had surgery on my spine, so I went through the first year of high school. I was walking, and then after that, I was in a chair. So that was a big shift for me. And I was okay socially for the most part. Like I had some friends and get along with people, but never really knew how to talk to girls. I come from my parents are both Pakistani,
Okay.
and they grew up in a very conservative Muslim community where everyone was the same religion, like skin tone practically, spoke the same language, lived in the same area, went to the same school. And like I was in this completely different place in Chicago where there was only like 2 other people that were South Asian, and no one else had a physical disability, visible physical disability at least.
Right.
So I did okay, but I never really felt like I fit in, and that continued through high school and college. The chair made it even harder because then I felt even more different, and I didn't go on my first date until I was 23, just about. And that girl ended up saying, well, I thought it was a date. I think she thought we were just hanging out as friends, because when I told her how I felt, she said, I don't know how like anyone could date somebody in a wheelchair. Like that's,
That's pretty harsh.
yeah. So I kind of probably asked for it. I like things to be harsh and true.
Yeah.
Um, But after that point, I was like, all right, well, I need to figure something out. Like clearly what I thought was working or what I thought would work was
Mhm.
not working. I thought you just had to be like successful and buff and like a movie star essentially to get girls, or that sounds terrible to like to attract the opposite gender. Um, but clearly that wasn't working because I had gone to an Ivy League school. I had a job at Microsoft. I was set financially. There was my disability didn't impair me too much at that point. Like, I was still very independent. I could drive, get around to most things,
Mhm.
find ways to adapt things. But none of that mattered, it seemed. So I decided to hire a dating coach, and he completely transformed my life
Wow.
and taught me how to, most importantly, communicate with people. Well, actually, first, how to dress myself. Second, how to communicate with people in general. And then how to communicate sexual interest, which is a different kind of communication.
Wow. So
Uh,
what was kind of like, what were some of the big takeaways, and did you notice a difference right after you kind of started working with him?
yeah, absolutely. So I used to hide with what I was wearing. Like I wouldn't really um, I wouldn't want people to notice me, so I'd wear. Oh, you're gone.
Oh, yeah, I'm just moving.
Okay. I wouldn't want people to notice me, so I wore like baggier clothes or try to wear things that would hide my body because I'm very skinny. And then I shifted to wearing things that fit me more closely and styling my hair different colors and wearing like funky glasses or different accessories. I've scaled that back because I don't know. I mean, I'm just getting older and not as interested in that
Right,
anymore. But I explored. I had my time to explore,
right.
and people responded. And actually, now it's like a lot of times I don't want to talk to people, or I don't want more attention. Like I just want,
Right. So you tone it down.
yeah, I just want to tone it down. I would rather just be able to go throughout my day and talk to the people I want to talk to, and
Right.
not have to talk to people I don't want to talk to.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so I learned that. So people were more open or receptive to me because implicitly the message I was giving was, hey, like I like it's okay for you to look at me because
Mhm.
I did look different, like visibly. Um, like when I was younger, you would only be able to tell when I was walking.
Okay.
I was sitting in class, you probably wouldn't be able to tell. But once I had the chair, it was obvious, right? There's no way to hide it.
Right.
So yeah, so there's that, and then I learned to communicate with people by asking them what they're interested in and or find out what they're interested in. Just ask good questions.
Mhm.
For example, like what do you like to do for fun? Or um, there's all sorts of questions you can ask just to try to get people to open up. And then once you know something that they like to talk about, you can just keep mining that like forever,
Right.
essentially. And um, like there's a guy who I met at the place where they work on my car, and I found out he loves fishing. And this I've known this guy for probably 8 9 years now, and every time I see him, I ask him about fishing because that's what he likes to talk about, and like he really enjoys it. I enjoyed learning
Right.
about his passion in fishing, and yeah, that's really cool, and we have a really good connection.
Yeah. And people always love to talk about what they're passionate about, and
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
they
Right,
they remember those kinds of conversations a lot better
right.
than you're like your everyday, what do you do, kind of
Yeah,
work
yeah.
and all.
That's like the worst kind of questions. Like, what do you do, or how's it going, or how
Yeah.
are you? Like,
So
yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah, just learning
yeah,
how to ask better questions,
right,
feeling more confident in, your self-expression, whether your clothing, your style.
right. Yeah.
Um, okay.
And then with the expressing sexual interest, I learned about flirting and um, like just being courageous. So we in dating, people talk about confidence a lot, and I think we outwardly label people as, oh, that person is confident, but to get there, you have to be courageous. Like you have to do things even when you're scared.
Right. Scared of
And
rejection.
yeah, like that's what actual confidence is
Right.
is being courageous even when you're scared.
Mhm.
So you're worried that someone's going to reject you or not be interested, but you ask anyway, or you indicate your interest. And then of course, there's like ways to do it, like being tactful and
Okay.
not like putting everything on them. Like, I'm in love with you and I want to be with you from like day one, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's a little scary. A
yeah,
little,
even though you're thinking those things, everyone's thinking those things, but
yeah.
I don't know why, but apparently the rules of humanity are that you have to hide that stuff. So I've just learned that, okay, like just keep a lid on it.
Mhm.
But I guess now I understand that it takes a while to get to know someone. And initially, especially if there's like physical connection, it can be easy to get caught up in all those feelings. So it makes sense to be more careful about it and check your feelings.
Yeah, of course.
Um, but the biggest thing there was just ask, right? And or put it out there, right? Like, hey, I'm interested. Hey, I'd like to take you on a date. Would you be open to that? Like, as simple as it gets.
Yeah, sure,
And
sure.
through my friend jokes that I've gotten on so many dates through just sheer like volume of trying. He's like, you're probably in the upper 99th percentile of like number of attempts you've made. And, like,
That's
and
okay
that's
because you're getting results, so it doesn't matter how
right.
many times
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get
right
rejected
now.
more than everyone else too, but I'm having way more dating success now than I did when I was up until the age of 23.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, so I mean, I'm assuming now it's much easier for you to approach somebody than it was back then. How did you kind of build up that confidence after,
Yeah.
rejections? Do you have any advice for that or?
Yeah. I think the best antidote to rejections is having good friends or having a good
Mm,
community of friends is
okay,
ideal. So that's why I always focus on building friendships first, which is where that having conversations with people comes into play.
right.
Because when you feel rejected, it's a psychological thing, right? Like your brain processes it in much the same way that it processes physical pain. So having good friends that you can go to and say, hey, like I tried with this person I really liked and it didn't work out. They can make you laugh or just make you
Mhm.
feel heard or whatever it is that you need. I think once you build those close friendships, that they'll serve you in those situations. So,
Yeah,
because yeah, I go through tons of heartbreak as well, and my friends and comedy gets me through it. So
yeah. No, I think that's
you gotta have
important,
something. Yeah.
just to have that tribe that you can kind of just confide in and
Right.
yeah, I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Gotta
Um,
make it your mom. Like find someone else.
no, probably not the best.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah.
They're always gonna tell you what you want to hear, of course.
Right. Yeah.
It's good to have some honesty in there too, right, with friends.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Um, and
And we'll
always,
cover the flirting piece. Well, I mentioned that, but we'll come back to it
yeah.
when we
Okay.
share those screenshots.
Oh, absolutely. Um, so real quick, just touching base on rejection, how do
Yeah.
you kind of disassociate having a disability with rejection? Right? Because I feel a lot of times everybody, when people have a disability, they'll automatically say, oh, well, nobody wants to date me because of my disability.
Right.
Um, like what's the mindset that you have that gets you through that?
The mindset I have is for me, it's hard to like just like I prefer honesty. So I know that yes, and my coach said this to me like, yeah, maybe like 9 out of 10 women will not be interested in you because of your disability. But like, does that mean you're going to like stop or are you going to ask out those, what maybe it's 99 out of 100 women, but
Mhm.
does that mean you're going to stop or are you going to ask out 100 women um,
For that one,
to
right?
get to that one? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because as much as we think there's like one person for us or like this person's perfect, like, probably not true. You
Mhm.
probably like get along with more than a handful of people.
Right.
Yeah.
So we just had a comment here from Ben
Yeah.
saying disability does matter.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. It does matter.
I don't think anybody disagrees with that. But I don't think it's a death sentence for having a relationship or being in love and
Right.
experiencing that. So like you said, I think you just have to put yourself out there, and just, do your best. And I'm sure after this webinar, hopefully we'll have some more tools to kind of help guide us through that.
Yeah. And there are going to be a lot of people that are not interested, but there will be some people who are like, who find it as a source of strength, or like, I mean, it's the extreme end that could like fetishize it, but like, probably don't want that. But you can find you can find a balance. Like, I think it tends to build character. Like, I hate to say that we're like all inspirational or all of that, but it's a challenge. It's visible. The fact that you're the fact that you're trying, like, and not just trying, but the fact that you have to find ways to do things that are pretty unconventional.
Right. You have to adapt
That,
more than most.
you have to be adaptive. You have to be resilient, and that those are attractive qualities in a partner.
In anyone.
Yeah. Do you think there's trying too hard? Yeah. Well, I'll sorry. I'll let you handle the questions.
Oh no, that's fine. I'm done. Yeah, if you want
Okay.
to do them. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Trying too hard.
Is there such thing as trying too hard?
To like overcome your disability? Is that what you mean, Carissa?
Trying to.
Oh, to show that like you can.
Interested. I think I've trying too hard.
Oh, I see.
Others.
Right. I mean, I think you should take a look at your life and see how much of your life is like is changed, or like how much do you think about it? Right.
Yeah.
For example, like, is it top of mind for you all the time? Like, I'm disabled, I can't do this. Like, if it is, that's probably something you need to fix separately.
Right.
But for most of us, for most people with disabilities I've talked to, and myself, it's not something that's constantly on my mind. I'm just like, yeah, it's a thing. I deal with it. So yeah, like, I think it's you got to find a balance again, like with a lot of these things.
And I think
go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I think when you're explaining to someone, I think we'll get into this a little bit more, like when's a good time to tell somebody, and how do you tell them?
Right.
But I definitely don't think you should just like lay out a whole textbook of diagnosis and your genetic report and all that. Right. Like on the first date. I think it could be handled very well with like class and humor, and just kind of like dropping little hints here or there depending on your severity. But I think there's a really healthy approach to sharing some of your challenges with other people. So I think you'll have some great examples of that as well. And then
you also have to like wonder if they asked, right? Like, if they ask, then you can certainly share. Like, I usually do that. Like, I'll usually share a little bit, and then like all the nitty-gritty stuff I tend to keep to myself. But if someone's curious, and if I'm getting into a relationship with someone, like, I'll tell them, or likely they might see it, right? Like, if they spend the night, I'll have to let them know, like, hey, I'm gonna have somebody here at 6 a.m. to help me get up and get ready, like, FYI. And then that's a point at which I would discuss that. Although in my case, it's a little bit different because I put some of that content out there. But if you don't, then what you said, like, bring it up when it's relevant.
Right, exactly. So moving on to, I think, and we'll get to some of your questions, Josh, here. I saw you mentioned,
I think it was just a comment. Yeah.
Once you stop noticing something about yourself, others stop noticing about you. Yeah. So if you're putting a lot of emphasis on your disability, that's gonna be reflected in how you kind of represent yourself. And balance is key. Absolutely, Carissa.
Yeah.
So moving on to, most of us who are dating usually opt for the online dating route of things. And I know.
I wish we didn't. It sucks. But,
right. Well, I mean, yes and no. You have more options, right? You have more people like at your fingertips, basically. but of course it's got its
theoretically.
downfalls too.
Yeah.
Um, so do you want to touch base, do you want to
Yeah.
touch a little bit
Sure.
upon how to
Yeah.
kind of put yourself
Okay.
out there on online dating, how,
Right.
how you should approach your profile, what to put, maybe mention your disability, maybe not.
Yeah. It seems like people hate online dating, and maybe it's, I don't know if it's a guy versus girl thing, because like the experience for guys and girls is very different, right? Like for girls, it's just like all these like options. How do I? It's frustrating in a different way. Like how do I choose amongst all these like not very good options? And for guys, it's like just clawing for like scraps,
Mm,
right? Or like just something
okay.
for a long time. So I think that represents maybe some of the frustration with it from the male heterosexual end. So yeah, and I'm being facetious. Like yeah, online dating, it can be a grind, but there is also some. You're right. Like there are some pretty cool connections
Hmm.
you can make through there. Like I mean, all the people I've dated through online dating, I never would have met them um, had it not been for online dating, right?
Right.
So it does have that potential, and it does come through at times, but you have to really go through the slog to get there for sure.
Gotcha.
So your question was how to represent yourself.
Yeah, I mean, how do you approach, if you're new to online dating or if you're on there now, how do you kind of optimize your profile
Yeah. Well, if
to,
you're new to online
yeah.
dating, welcome to the 20th century. I don't know. Yeah, that would be
Well, if somebody's getting
exhausting. But yeah,
divorced,
maybe. Yeah,
like,
okay, that's fair.
yeah.
That's fair. Um, yeah, that's true. That makes a lot of sense. Um, so how to approach it is, I think you you get you will get the type of attention that you put out. So if you're putting out if you're not putting a lot of effort into it, you're probably going to not get a lot out, or you're not going to get people that are genuinely um, interested in you or like interested in the same things.
Okay.
So I think putting in uh, taking it takes some introspection, right, to figure out who you are, which is I think the challenge, because it's an odd thing to try to figure out who you are. Like we're better at figuring out who our friends are than
Mm,
we are ourselves. So I think getting a second opinion or getting good friends help. They can
yeah.
tell you
How
like,
would you describe me, kind of thing?
right, that sort of thing, and think about what are you actually interested in,
Mm,
um, and then think about what you want out of it. Right, if you just want a lot of experience, or you just want physical intimacy and experience, then um, be a little bit more on the funny, jokey, like playful, light side, because that's just fun and that's gonna sort of light things for that intimate connection early on.
right.
But if you're looking for something a little bit more serious or long term, then maybe be a little bit more honest about who you are and what you're looking for. And also, I think the strategy varies. Like, I'm just going to talk about it in heterosexual examples, but for for men and women, like for women, because they just get so much attention, it's a good strategy to um, like list things that people would not like about you, to kind of like weed out some of the
Hmm. That's
stuff, right? Like I don't know, it's not like, but like
like
list
just
some like,
self-deprecating a little bit.
no, not necessarily self-deprecating, but like I think it makes sense to be brutally honest
Mm,
about who you are, because that's gonna like weed out people who are not interested if you're looking for something more serious.
gotcha.
If you I mean, if you're looking for something casual and you're a heterosexual woman, like put up like a picture of your finger, and you'll get some attention. Um, but yeah, I think that's the common complaint I hear from women, is that like guys just want they just want sex, or nobody's serious. And then I look at their profile and I'm like, well, like all you said was like you like traveling and pizza. Like doesn't say anything
There's not
about,
much depth there. Yeah.
yeah, it's there's not much to go off of. So like people who are looking for something more um like there's some for more depth, and you're a person these are people of depth. They have a lot in their lives. but they're just not showcasing it. So
Mm,
the guy's going to assume that you just want like something casual, or you're just maybe just looking for validation or
yeah.
Instagram followers. Like that's a common thing. So
Any tips on like actually what kind of photos to put up or
yes, yeah. So
that?
photos matter the most, unfortunately or fortunately. Um, and so I think putting photos, like you want to have a mix of photos,
Mm,
um, of like you know, it's always helpful to have photos of you doing things,
yeah,
um,
agreed.
and then photos in groups to show that
Mm,
people are comfortable around you.
people
And
the
it's helpful
consumption
if they're,
society, yeah.
yeah, it's helpful if they're um, like have like touching you, or like showing that you're accepted by your
Mhm.
peers and your community. So that this is more for guys because they're notoriously bad at posting pictures,
Yeah.
showing like women. I don't know, yeah, maybe it's in the socialization, but women tend to have it down. But um, for guys, having shots of you doing things with people, as well as like individual shots. Like you want to look good, you want to look neat. Of course, you want to. I mean, this seems basic, but you don't want to have like bathroom selfies, or like
Oh, please
for
no.
guys, selfies are pretty terrible in general. Just don't.
Yeah, and like
Um,
30 selfies in the car or
yeah,
in front of the
right.
gym mirror,
Yeah,
or like in look like you're in some closet, or
right.
putting up the middle fingers, like any type of
Yeah,
facial expression that resembles
right.
aggression
Yes.
is gonna scare most females away. So just
Yeah,
be mindful, like
right.
just a, like
So
a
the
smile.
biggest it's interesting is for men the biggest worry is like, is this a real profile? And for women the biggest worry
Yeah,
is like, is this the profile of a murderer? So in
yeah,
general, like I know, as like I kind of think that's funny in my case because like I'm not physically strong enough to murder anyone. So, or like anyone could escape from me really easily. But it's just yeah, like having a good smile.
yeah,
Um, take a bunch of shots and then pick one where you look friendly and affable and
right,
happy, and don't be like upset or
yeah.
anything like that.
Yeah, no, agreed. And I think like it is important because women, I know like from the female perspective, like we are just, I think I don't remember exactly what the timing is, but we can make a decision within like under a second on whether we're attracted to someone, right? It's like
Right,
the body language is the environment.
right,
So you definitely want to have like you want to show like a diversity. You want to show like, maybe you outdoors or
right,
you like at an event with friends and
right,
just show like different facets of yourself because
yeah,
I feel like that's always attractive.
right.
Um,
Yeah, show that you're not
yeah,
just one dimensional, like
exactly.
because and you're not, like, because you're
Right.
a human being, but that's all the information they have to go off of. So they have to
Exactly.
make this split-second decision about you based on your profile. And yeah, so it'll help to have that diversity, to have you doing things, to have you be friendly,
Mhm.
but don't expect it to be like 0 to 100. Like it's still going to be tough no
Right.
matter what you do. You can optimize to all ends, but as a guy, it's still going to be challenging, and that's just the nature of the game.
But we do have we should we show some
Oh
examples of
yeah,
the profile?
yeah. So I can show my profile, which is absolutely perfect.
Of
No, I mean,
course.
I'm sure there's ways to improve it, but I'm also I also have a pretty dark sense of humor,
Mhm.
and I've dated a lot, and I'm now looking for someone who matches my sense of humor and like wit and all that. So I'm trying to be a little bit more clear about that up front. So let me pull up that.
Yeah, I think humor is such a great icebreaker always. It's you know, you don't want to be too serious
Yeah,
with that.
and I want someone that has my sense of humor,
Right.
because it's very particular, as I'm sure you know, Stella.
Yes. I appreciate it.
Okay, so I'm going to share. Where's the button to share?
So on the bottom panel there's a
Yeah.
little
Oh,
square.
share screen, of
Yeah.
course. Okay.
And then
Cool.
you just pick the screen you
So
want to share.
yeah, that makes sense. So I'm going to share this screen. Or actually, I can just share this. This app.
So while we're setting this up, are there any dating apps that you prefer over others?
I've had the best um, luck on Bumble.
Okay,
I think because the women have to message first,
right.
and it's kind of nice because you not always, but you have a sense that they're at least interested enough to message.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Takes the pressure off a little bit, right?
yeah, because I mean, I think it makes sense. Like honestly, um, like women are the ones mostly deciding, right? Like men are in heterosexual relationships. Like yes, men are deciding too, but like for men to go on a date with someone is pretty um, like it's a low, not a low bar, but like they're more open to it. Like they're not really concerned about their safety or anything.
Right.
But for women, it's a little bit more.
Yeah,
Um,
we have to feel safe and
they're going to filter a little bit more.
of course.
So here's my profile.
Okay.
Um, a lot of advice says that your first shot should be like of like showing your face, and that's like important. And like I've done that at times, but I'm just experimenting now and trying
Mhm.
a different one to show like because I comedy is so important to me. And I just think it's a really good shot of like you know, I'm making my friends laugh.
Right.
Um, but also like my friend on the right is kind of like, I don't know about this. So I just find that it's very accurate to my
Okay.
style of comedy. And so, you know, I have like my job and I write something interesting here. Um,
I don't think we can see it. Are
oh, you
you?
can't?
No, I see just the full album. I
Oh, weird.
see all the I see like the Google album here, but I'm not seeing anything pop up on the screen.
Okay.
Are you able to
Uh,
maximize it maybe?
I, yeah, let me try that.
And Ben is Ben is suggesting
Then
him.
it's all Hinge. Hinge is great too. I like Hinge. Um, hold on, let me figure this out. How do you stop sharing the screen?
Uh, at the same
Oh, the
same
same
button at the
spot.
bottom. Yeah,
Okay.
that's odd. I'm not sure why it's not sharing.
Oh, that was my video. Which this is all my fault. I should have
It's okay.
practiced this. And it's still
It worked yesterday when we were testing it out.
right.
Well,
Well, I didn't practice this
I
part.
was looking at the photos. Um,
Yeah. Okay. So what do you see now?
so I just see the photo, the album with all the
Oh,
screenshots.
just the album.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I clicked on one of them, but apparently that's not working.
Hmm. All right. Well, I mean, we can kind of maybe just give more of a description until we get that sorted out.
Sure. Um, oh, there's the thing for the, okay. Got it. You still there?
I'm here.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
So I'm gonna stop the share and
Fantastic.
just restart it. All right,
Okay.
cool.
Does anybody have any other questions while we're waiting here? I know there's some. Oh, wait, there we go.
Okay.
It changed.
So can you guys see?
I see the album again.
Okay.
Let's see if we can maximize one of those photos.
How about this?
Oh, yep, that worked. Yay.
Awesome. Okay,
That's
cool.
sweet.
Sweet. So I'll be looking to the side because it's on my second monitor.
Okay.
But yeah, so I can you see my mouse or no?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Okay. So yeah, so I write. So this is just a picture of me doing comedy. One of my friends is laughing, and the other one's kind of like slightly disturbed. So I feel like that's a good
That's a good
representation.
balance. It's a good summary of your sense of humor.
Yeah. Um, and then I wrote comedian, writer, inspiration, porn star, just like all these things that just will make, I'm hoping will draw some
Shots
curiosity.
value. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, which is kind of who I am. So it's all good. Um, and then I just wrote like who I am.
Hmm.
So I can just read this out. I wrote, curious about people and their stories, especially the real stuff that often gets tucked away. It's very true about me. My
Hmm.
friends often say that like you're the only one I can tell this to because I want like all the juicy, like weird stories about what's going on in their lives
Right.
because I just find that fun. And then I like talking about human psychology, content creation because I love creating and email marketing automation. And then I say, I want to talk dirty to me, just bring up bookkeeping or tax strategy, which is not like the only thing I'd like to talk about, but I just want to indicate like, hey, I like brainy stuff
Right. Yeah.
and I like business and that's who I am. So I want to,
But that's like a
um,
really fun way of like of of communicating that, right? Instead of just saying,
yeah,
I like technology and
right.
talking to people. Like this is like
Yeah,
super clever
right.
and it's gonna get a laugh out of someone and they're gonna want to learn more, hopefully.
Right. So I recognize that it's nerdy and nerdy is typically not seen as sexy, but I'm
Well, it
making it
depends who you
sexy.
are. It
For
depends.
sure, yeah.
Yeah,
But like in pop culture, it's seen as kind of not as sexy. But like, I enjoy this and I think it's sexy. So
yeah.
it's indicating my values a bit.
And
And
Christy
then,
says it's an icebreaker. Yes,
right,
absolutely.
yeah. Like the ideal message to me would be somebody, um, being like as simple as like, do you think the 1040 is better or the 1040 EC?
Yeah,
Right? Like, which would be like, I don't really have an opinion on that, but just the
right,
fact that they would say that would be amazing.
right. Because they know they speak your language already.
Right, exactly, yeah. So giving people opportunities to do that.
I love it.
And then fill out the rest of it honestly.
Hmm.
Um, I just prefer honesty in general. Like I've tried to hide my disability thing and it just ended up in one really bad date where
Really?
like it was really awkward the entire time. And at the end of it, I was like, did I miss something? Or like, she was like, oh, I just had no idea that you had a disability. And so after that point, I was just like, okay, I'm never going to do that again because
Right.
it just felt like disingenuous. And I want to be a genuine person and I want
Yeah.
a genuine relationship. So
Right.
yeah, maybe it'll get less people interested in me, but I'd rather meet up with people that the like see me as a complete person than just fixate on that
Right.
one piece.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
and
great.
it's frustrating at times, but
I'm sure.
um, I'm choosing I'd rather have the long term better option than
Yeah.
go for the short term.
And I think it's a personal choice for everyone.
Yeah,
I don't think there's like a wrong answer or right answer.
right,
And some of us, it's not as noticeable, right? So
right,
not that we can get away with not saying it, but
right.
um, you know, it's
Yeah, that's another factor. Like
yeah,
how much does it actually impact
exactly.
your
Like for
life?
me, when I was dating for like 5 minutes online, I'm in a
Yeah,
relationship now, but
yeah,
I chose not to put it online. I thought about it.
right,
Um, but then it would always come up in conversation on the first date because I just wanted to feel comfortable kind of letting somebody know.
right,
And it was directly related with my line of work with the H&F. So, that always kind of comes up naturally in conversation. What do you do for a living? And I would tell them about this great organization that I work with, helping people with
right.
disabilities. And then I would kind of like insert
So
my
you
own
wouldn't you
story.
wouldn't bring it up before the first date?
Not usually. Not
Okay.
usually. Yeah, not that I was hiding it. I mean,
Right.
if there was like an opportunity and there was like a vulnerable moment or conversation, I
Right.
wasn't opposed to it, but
Yeah.
most of the time that really wasn't the case. And uh,
Right.
but yeah, I always like me personally. Again, going back to like the double standards of men
Right.
versus women, like
Yeah.
I personally never had a negative experience with anybody.
Right.
Um, After I told them, I think it was more
Right.
curiosity.
Yeah.
But yeah, It's
Then
all,
you didn't have anyone that was like, I can't be with you because of this.
no, no, not at
Okay.
least, in the beginning.
Right.
And,
Oh, what do you mean? Like later?
well, no, 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 because like I said, I was literally dating for like 5 minutes online.
Right.
I went through a divorce.
Right.
Uh, so in between that and my partner now, there was like a few months where I was just kind of testing the waters, and I wasn't looking for a relationship. So I was just kind of out dating, meeting new people, and
Right.
I wasn't looking for anything serious. So
Okay. I
yeah,
see. Can you still see my screen?
I can.
Okay,
Mhm.
awesome. I just wanted to put it on my
Oh, there we go.
um,
There's
put it
another.
on my main screen so that I'm not looking off to the side.
Oh, we just had some comments come in real quick.
Okay, sure.
So from Tara, I find it helps to be upfront about it early on because you don't want to get attached to somebody who
Right.
doesn't accept you for who you are. Of
Yeah.
course,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
Um,
but I think Estella has a good point. Like if it's not such a huge impact on your life, like in my case, like it's obvious, right? Like, and
right,
it has a significant impact on my life of what I can and cannot do. Whereas for Estella, it's probably not as severe. So I think you have the option of like
right.
waiting because like and if the person starts talking about like doing crazy hikes or like snowshoeing all the time, like then
You're like,
maybe you want
I
to
gotta go
mention
wash
it.
my hair. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Mhm.
yeah, or you could just go the the super genuine route. But again, like it doesn't, like you don't want to fixate on that, right, in
Right.
your profile, because
Of
then
course.
people are going to think like, well, is that all you are? Like
Right. If you
if you're what's
fixate, then they're gonna
right.
fixate on it.
Yeah.
So absolutely. And then
Yeah.
Carissa, I have some look at my scars and question kindly. That's a little harder to hide. So yeah, scar.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, there's a lot of people that are not going to be okay with certain things, but there's also a ton of amazing people
Right.
out there
Right. You look
who,
their sleeves and be like, check my
yeah,
sleeves out,
right, yeah, or
Like,
they're like, they'll recognize that for you maybe it's visible, like your challenges, and for them it's invisible, perhaps, like
mhm. Yeah.
not a disability per se, but just whatever they've got going on. Like we're all messed up human beings just trying to like get it on essentially. So
I
um,
love that. That should be your tagline for your services.
yeah. All right, so I'll just quickly go through the rest. So this was just a great shot, like for me. I just saw this dog literally across the street
Oh,
from where I live, and it was really cute. And I don't know, my friend took a picture, and it's just been a really good picture. And the
adorable.
tagline I had on it on Instagram was like, "Yeah, we all know each other," because the common like joke of like oh, do you know my friend in a wheelchair because you're in a
Right.
wheelchair? So
I love it.
so
That's a perfect shot.
and then I talk about building community. That's important to me. Um,
Pull on some
and
heartstrings there.
what's that? Uh, Heartstrings, really?
Yeah, I mean, girl, if women see a picture of you making
Yeah.
kids crack up, I mean,
Oh,
that's,
this one. I thought you meant community. Okay.
oh, yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah. The kids. And then also like again showing that I'm not just like some like I don't know like inspirational guy in a wheelchair. Like I'm gonna ask kids these like funny questions and um, yeah, and that's also some people recognize me from that video, which has been nice. And then this is me just being like ridiculous. Like obviously you want to show like your best shots in online dating, but I like to like change it up. Um, and just like I don't know, it kind of invites people into my world of like, yeah, like someone was in an airport or airplane bathroom with me. Like, okay, like,
Yeah.
that's it's just unique and different. And
Shock value.
again, going back to the like, I like um the untalked about parts of life, like the
Mhm.
real parts of life. And
Right.
this to me is very real, and just hilarious to put on a dating
I love
profile.
that.
So I mean, my pants are up and like,
Yeah, I know it's
I think I look good. So like,
not
it's like,
inappropriate. I'm feeling the
it's
skinny
not,
jeans.
what's that?
I said I'm feeling the skinny jeans.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not like a dingy,
Right.
like bathroom, like
No.
it looks clean. Right. So there's that. You don't want to just put the gross stuff up there.
Right.
Um, and then I talk about like just things I value, right? Like
Mhm.
obviously I value witty banter, consent, like enthusiastic consent, really important to me. Not just for myself, but like I think a lot of women have had experiences where guys don't care so much about consent. So letting them know, like, hey, like even though I can't not think about your consent, like even though I couldn't violate your consent, like I'm aware of it and like
Conscious
um,
of it.
I'm
Yeah,
conscious of it. Yeah. So all that stuff.
I love
And
that.
then yeah, just my grandma, my mom, and like showing me like out of the chair at times and just like how people are okay with me, right? Like
Mhm.
my body's not typical, not that anyone's is, but yeah, it's like, and then my dog is there too and just likes to lie on me. And then more of what I'm looking for. I put my Instagram if they're curious. And then the Instagram is also like a lot of real life stuff. And then I finished off with like, all right, like I can still clean up pretty nice too.
Yeah, available for weddings
Right.
and bar
So
mitzvahs.
yeah, and it's like if they, you know, that it's not necessarily like my favorite thing, or whatever, but like I can still do it if needed. So yeah, so that's kind of it, and it shows like different me doing different things. There's some like group stuff. Um, yeah, like I'm happy trying to smile in most shots.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I think it's great. It definitely shows diversity and
right,
different elements of your life,
right,
and they're well lit photos of you, which we
right,
can't like underestimate. Like
right.
good lighting and nice
Yeah,
composition. It's
right. Yeah, edit your photos like everyone does it.
mhm.
Mostly just for lighting. I just
Yeah,
brighten them up a little bit so
right.
that um, it just brighter and looks like um, when things are dark, we tend to like think they're like dangerous or
Yeah, you
whatever.
start
Like
to
if the
associate.
lighting is dark, yeah,
Yeah, they're in somebody's basement or something.
right, yeah,
Yeah, and it's always like, I mean, people should also be open to, asking your friends to hang out for the day. Would you mind taking some photos of me for my
right,
dating profile, that kind of thing. It's
yeah,
like,
yeah, for sure. I've started doing this a lot more, like because it's harder for me to take um, it's hard for me to take pictures on my own. Um,
mhm.
yeah, like it's a thing, right? Online dating and an online presence is a fact of life these days. So most people should not be. I don't think anyone's going to look at you strange if you're like, hey, can you take a picture of me doing this?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
Especially if you don't get to do it that often,
Mhm.
and you go and do it, like get some
Yeah,
pictures, like get some evidence,
right.
because you're a great person and you do cool things, but if you don't take a picture, unfortunately, online, people are not gonna know.
Right. So going back to, like, so now we have our profile. Now
Right,
we might be getting some matches.
right,
Um, you know, maybe starting off with some jokes here and there, breaking
right.
some icebreakers. What are some of your tips on, just keeping or increasing someone's confidence and
Mm.
um, building it, exuding it? Where do we start from there when we have a disability?
Um, in regards to dating,
Yeah.
okay. So I think experience helps a lot. Like
Mhm.
I am way more confident now than I was 8 years ago because I'd never been on a date. I'd never held hands with a girl. I'd never kissed a girl. I'd never had sex. Like now I have more experience and I know what I'm looking for.
Right.
So I feel a little bit more confident of like standing up for what I do and don't want.
Okay.
So experience helps, but before that, a little bit of faking it helps, like being a little cocky or like kind of testy or jokey. Like I think I faked it a lot early on, but then I realized like, okay, this is my actual sense of humor, and my sense of humor evolved to what it is now. So I think trying to figure out what sort of sense of humor you have, because like I sent Estella this article a couple of days ago that there's some research that shows that playfulness is one of the greatest predictors of healthy relationships. And ultimately, like we want to be in relationships so we can be our silly, authentic selves. And um, even with our friends, right? So trying to share some of that is really important and can
Yeah.
make you feel. I think that shows confidence. The fact that you're because trying to be funny is a vulnerable thing, and being
Mm,
vulnerable is what creates confidence. Like Brene Brown
and
says, you
connection,
can't.
right?
What's that?
It creates connection, being vulnerable,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Brene Brown says you can't have courage or confidence without vulnerability.
Mm,
Um, so when you're that vulnerable to put something out there and say, "This is me. This is my sense of humor,"
right,
um, then that's a very confident thing as opposed to like doing things like "Hi" or "How's it going?" Like you're not really showing much of yourself.
right. And I think a lot of times women in particularly are scared to kind of maybe share their opinions or
Right.
say what they do like, what they don't like. I think sometimes we kind of fall into the trap of being too agreeable, like
Right.
the guy picks out the place, or maybe it's traditional, the guy picks out the spot for dinner, and you're like,
Right.
okay, instead of saying like, no, I'm not really into that, how about this
Yeah.
instead. I
Right.
think it's really good to kind of show that you have your own likes and dislikes, and
Right.
not be so scared of communicating that.
Yeah. As someone who's had a lot of dating experience, I find it very attractive when a woman is like assertive about what she wants. Like I think there's a balance, right?
Right.
Like finding a good compromise, but um, yeah, like someone who's just super passive, it's just not very interesting because I just don't know who they are.
Yeah, you're not getting the feedback that you kind of
Right.
would want. Right.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yep.
Yeah. So do you want to cover some of the
Yeah.
quick like potential um, or quick like opening messages?
Yes, I love
Okay.
these examples.
Okay. So these
Kind
are
of
I like these a lot too. So
behind the
just
scenes.
stop me whenever you want to stop because I can talk about this forever. So opening messages, a lot of these are on Hinge. Um, and it's just me showing my personality and my sense of humor. So, um, okay, this one's pretty dark. But so when people write things, you can like comment on them. Um, so I'm just making fun of her for like poking a little bit and
Right.
teasing. Teasing is good
Yeah.
within reason. You don't want to be offensive.
Right.
And different people have different barometers for like how much they want, how far they want. Like I like it really far and all the time. So I'm giving that because that's what I want in return.
Right.
So that's one. It's just we can just go. Um, sorry, let me go back to that. So this girl said she talks about grammar and really liking grammar, which is something I really like too. So I call myself a grammar Nazi. It's how to improve. And then I talk about exterminating phones, kind of like in line with like Nazi
Right.
stuff. Like,
Right.
sorry if you're Jewish and this is offensive, but I find it funny. Um, so um, because I want someone who can play pool with me. So misinterpretation is a great
Right.
way to flirt. Awesome, thanks, Josh. Because you have a sick sense of humor as well. So um, I talk about drowning um, instead of pool. So like obviously she means playing like pool with cue
Right.
sticks, but I'm misinterpreting. So misinterpretation is a great way of teasing.
Right.
And in this case, it's obvious that I know what she meant.
Right.
And
Mm-mm.
yeah, if we're on the same wavelength, it would be obvious to her.
Yeah.
Um, this is just like sad, funny, like don't play games with my heart.
That's cute.
Um, it's cute, funny. This is just like a really brutally honest answer.
Mm,
Um, she asked what makes me get out of bed every day. I guess we don't need to read these, right? People can read them.
I love it.
Yeah, awesome. And then this was just like playing on. So IE means in other words, EG means for example. So I, misspelled her name purposefully, and so just jabbing. But let me show you some. There's like two others that I really liked that are, yeah. So Estella saw these and she was like, "You've been busy," and I was like, "Yeah,
I know.
I have a problem." Um,
Serial
see,
dating, I love it.
yeah. Oh, this one I thought was pretty funny. Um, Asking for a friend is a great line I like to use when you're like
Right.
saying something that's for yourself. This girl was she's a medical student, so this has nothing to do with her response, but it's just like, yeah, just like a dumb medical question. So let's see. Oh, one thing I want to show you. So this is one on Bumble. This girl seemed really interesting, and like I thought she was really cute. And she was like pretty forward about like "you had me at," which is a line from Jerry Maguire of like saying like
Yeah, admit hello. Yeah.
I'm kind of already into you. And like the conversation went great. We won't like go into details so much. She seemed like really like joking with me, like all caps, like yelling, like joke yelling or fake yelling.
Right.
And we decided to like um, talk on the phone. And then I called her at the time we were gonna talk on the phone, and then it just didn't. She just didn't answer. And then I messaged her on the app a couple days later. I checked with her like, "Are you, is everything okay?" Didn't hear back, and then she just deleted me unmatched me on the app, and like it sucked, but that's kind of like what happens sometimes. And all you can do is like be a good person and not do that to other people.
Yeah.
But it just sucks sometimes. So that's a good time to have friends and have something to fall back on. And then again, like that's why I'm so lighthearted about it, because like my last one of the last girls I dated, I would tell her like like statistically like this is not going to work out. Right? Like, and it didn't, right? So like I was right, but I like having a sense of humor about it because that makes me feel, because otherwise I tend to get very serious about it. So having a sort of being able to laugh at myself and the situation helps me be okay with these ups and downs.
Absolutely. Agreed.
And you don't always have to be humorous. You can also just like um, answer honestly. Let's see if there's yeah, this is all just very dark. So this one's like pretty far, probably the top end of what I would do. Like she said she likes true crime, and I was like, would you? Because spousal privilege is, I don't know. Do you know what that means?
No.
It's like when you're in. So like I'm also like very nerdy. So a lot of these things might just like people might just not respond because they don't get them.
Right.
They're funny to me. So my friends are always like, all this stuff is not like people just don't get all the things you say. So spousal privilege means when you're in court and you're being tried, your spouse cannot testify against you. So I'm basically saying like, I'm a psychopath. You could get like the inside scoop on true crime because you wouldn't be able to incriminate me in court. So I wouldn't end up killing you, which is like a really far-fetched like sense of humor if she got it, but it just tickled me. And that's the first thing
it's kind of like a big check,
Right. If she got that, I'd be like, oh, for sure. Like, let's get hitched right now. Yeah. But sometimes people just, that's being funny, being funny, funny, being funny, being funny, being funny. This one's really funny. I have to share this one. I'm basically insinuating that I'm the unstable person as well. Again, asking for a friend. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I can't find any serious ones, but sometimes it's fun. I tend to be more joking.
Yeah.
But sometimes if I can't think of something and they seem like they just want genuine responses, like I'll just send a genuine answer.
Right.
And then here's one that did work. Like I went on dates with this person. She again had that same line of "you had me at
Mm,
grammar Nazi and dinner gatherings," and then we were able to joke about Nazis because she has blonde hair and blue eyes. So I was like, "You should be careful saying the word Nazi." Yeah, so observing things is really important. Like um, finding things in their profile that you find interesting or that you can comment on shows them that you're an observant person, observant, genuine person that cares and
right.
takes like making people feel seen is one of the
Yeah.
most incredible things you can do.
Yep.
And I see it as even if they don't respond or it doesn't work out, like maybe they felt good for a little bit.
And it's good practice too. I mean, like at the end of the day, you're just kind of like refining your skills of
Right.
conversation and
Yeah. And when
communication.
you're in person, you need to pick up on these things. And
Right.
um, that's the thing that people, that's the thing that the women I've dated, a consistent thing I hear is like, I can tell you anything. You're very observant. You're very emotionally, um, you're very emotionally, what's the word?
Intelligent.
Intelligent. Yeah. As I lose the word.
Ironic.
Yeah. You're very emotional. Like I know where I stand with you.
Yeah.
You can be authentic. And yeah, like that means a lot. Like if someone changes their hairstyle or their nail polish or their glasses or their whatever, like whether it's physical or not physical, like they're not in a good mood or
Right.
they're particularly cheery that day. Like when you notice those things, people feel special. They're like, oh, I matter. Um, I someone cares enough to notice. Like someone is paying attention enough to notice.
Do you credit having a disability to having any of these additional skills?
I think the observant piece for sure, because I'm always
Mm,
kind of looking out for, um, like I'm usually very much on time. I plan. I'm a very good planner, and I'm very observant because whenever I go out to somewhere new, I like scope out the area. Like
yeah.
we'll call to like check if it's accessible or all these things, and like also because when places say they're accessible, it means so many different things. So I've learned to be observant
Proactive.
of like,
Yeah.
yeah, like is this accessible or not?
Mm,
Like, will I be able to do this or not?
yeah.
So yeah, I think having disability helps in that regard.
I think so too. I think especially with the emotional intelligence
Oh yeah.
and empathy and just
My ex-girlfriend might disagree, but
and just being like a good listener.
right.
I just think that, sometimes, just even just growing up, not being able to participate in sports, I usually credit like my creativity because
Yeah.
of that, because I had to kind of sit out on the sidelines, maybe with like a box of crayons and some paper and just
Right.
kind of make something out of not much,
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times we overlook the gifts that kind of come along with having a physical challenge,
Yeah.
and that we bring that into a relationship. And those are really great qualities to bring into a relationship, right? Being a good listener, having emotional intelligence, really
Yeah.
picking up on cues when maybe your partner is upset about something, or
Right.
um, yeah, I think those are just, things that sometimes we forget that come along with, CMT and
Yeah. And
other
also
challenges.
not feeling judged. Like a lot of people feel like they can be open because um,
Right?
you're open with them, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
or like
Exactly.
your disability has probably caused you to be more open. I find that I have my friendships are a lot closer than most people because they have to be like they have to help me, and all the way from like change to take a shower, right? Like
Right.
different friends and they have, and like so that just creates a certain level of intimacy. And
Mhm.
yeah, it's not for everyone, but for people that want that really close connection with someone, which is a pretty significant human need,
Yeah.
um, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I definitely I agree with that. And a lot of times I know that people are, a little bit scared of online dating or just dating in general when you have a disability. But a lot of the interabled couples that I've spoken with, they describe it as almost like they have a deeper bond because of it, just, very similar to what you describe with your friends.
Yeah.
And also, when you're dating with a disability or you find somebody who is not bothered by that, I feel like it's such a huge filter for, kind of sorting out people that are just more focused on looks and, like vanity and things like that.
Right.
You might not get as many people interested in you, but the people who are interested in you are usually very, authentic, caring, just, a higher quality type of person.
Right. And the note about the interabled couples, like there's, I read this book by Ben something, who he interviewed a bunch of different interabled couples, and the amount of care that the person who doesn't have the disability does varies widely as well.
Right.
So like I grew up always thinking like I would find someone that would take care of everything for me and just be like we would just be like stuck together. And I realized like I went through that experience and I realized I didn't necessarily like it, and like it was a lot of time with someone and I wanted some more independence. So now I'm like a little bit more and after reading that book I saw, oh, there's not just one way. Like there's people who do want that, and that's okay if you want that.
Right.
And he wrote about some of those people in the book, and they're like, for them it's very connective, but then for other people they're like, yeah, like it's not the person with the disability doesn't necessarily want it, and then like they like that separation.
Right.
So
Not
that's what they're
everybody
able to
wants that
achieve.
not everyone wants like a full-time caretaker
Right.
when they have a disability. And that brings up a really great notion that I wanted to mention. There's a wonderful hashtag right now going, growing and expanding on Instagram.
Yeah.
If you search that hashtag.
Do you want me to show it?
Sure, if you have it. 100 out of 100. So it's the number 100, then spelt out of 100 again, the numbers. And it all kind of formed as like a backlash to this episode of Dr. Phil, where he said that, 90% of, I'm not sure, don't quote me exactly, but, the majority of interabled couples are unsuccessful, and, that one of them always has to end up as the caretaker. And, he just had really shed like a really negative light on interabled relationships. So this kind of grew out of couples saying like, wait a second, like, look at us. Perfect. Look how happy we are. And this is just like such a wide range of different disabilities. And you could see like, whether it's the guy, the girl, whether it's spinal cord injury or a different type of chronic illness. Like, oh, there's our podcast. Yay. Yeah, it's just a great reminder.
Oh, nice. Yes, right.
It's just a great reminder of, of just examples out there of really happy, successful relationships. And, it's worth dating 300 people to find that one, that
is
one.
It? No, it is. Yeah, it is.
When you find that person, yeah, it is.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, and it's not always about caretaking, and it's not just a one-sided relationship because somebody has a disability. So I definitely encourage everybody to check that out, and check out some of the couples, and yeah, Carissa, there can be guilt. I feel guilty if I make my partner a caretaker. There's no easy answer to that, and it all depends on, are the expectations there that they're going to be your caretaker, or is it something you can, hire or get like an aid for, or are you putting it out that you're looking for a caretaker? Like some people are more than happy to help somebody that they love and they don't see it in a negative light.
Right.
I mean, we're wired, as human beings, we're wired to like help and serve each other and, make people feel happy. So it's
Yeah.
not, it's not a negative thing. And I think
Yeah.
these couples are a perfect example of that.
Do you mind sharing how it works for you, Estella?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so my partner and I now have known each other for about 20 years. So we were friends for a very long time before we became, romantically involved. So my case is a little bit different than most people. I had like years and years of just getting to know somebody and forming like a very strong friendship. So there wasn't that awkward phase where I didn't know whether to tell him. He kind of already knew all my baggage. I already knew his baggage. But as far as the reason that it works is because he's just genuinely a very giving person, very generous, and he doesn't make me feel disabled. I mean, a lot of relationships, if they're not healthy, that other person can really kind of like make you feel guilty for not being able to do things, or kind of disregarding your symptoms, not believing you. Me and Lainey and I kind of put out this list of 5 red flags to look out for, and one of those is like lack of empathy, or it's just finding that person who wants to go out of their way to make your life a little happier, and somebody who makes you feel good in your own skin and doesn't make you feel like you have to be anything different.
Yeah, kind of like a good friend, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Like my friends don't make me feel like it's a big deal.
Right.
Like the good friends, right? They're
Yeah.
just like, yeah, whatever you need. Like, it's
Right.
cool. It's no big
And we
deal.
forget to, like, just because we have a physical disability, other people might have trauma in their life, or they might have chronic pain, or they might have, learning disabilities or depression and things that they struggle with that are not necessarily visible. But
And you
everybody
probably
has
don't.
stuff.
You
Right.
probably don't react to them like they're a big deal, right? Like, because they're your
Exactly.
friend, and you're just like,
Yeah.
yeah, I have a friend who needed help. Like, all my friends come to me for help with their resumes because I'm just really good at it. I'm not like, oh well, like this is like a big deal. And it's just
Right.
like, no, I want to help my friends.
Exactly. Yeah. And we really have to remember how much value we can bring to a relationship. Like, we shouldn't feel like somebody's doing us a favor because they want to go out with us. Like, we're not a charity. And we shouldn't ever feel like someone's doing us a favor by wanting to be with us. And that's a really dangerous place to be in, because I feel like, unfortunately, sometimes we settle for people who are not the healthiest people to be around, because we think that we won't ever find anyone, or we've been convinced that no one's ever going to want us because we're damaged goods. Which is why I just encourage everybody to like look at that feed. And then there's an amazing movie that we screened this time last year. It's a documentary. It's available on Amazon Prime and iTunes. It's called Take a Look at This Heart, and it's a beautiful, beautiful documentary about 16 different individuals in relationships, or dating, with all different, mostly spinal cord injuries, but severe disabilities, and just the stories and the interviews, and the showing how they started a family and how they work around it, and the love that's there is just so just reassuring, and it just really is such a beautiful reflection of the human spirit and relationships and what everybody wants, right? Everybody wants this beautiful love story, and we all want to find our best friend, and we should never stop looking for that, whether we have a disability or not. So
I agree.
yeah. So did we miss anything? Did we skip anything?
I think we got it all. Do we want to, are there any, I have time for questions if you do.
Sure. If anybody has any questions, feel free to pop them up there in the chat box. Otherwise, where can we find you? I know you have your hands in a bunch of different projects.
Yeah. The best place is to sign up for my email list on anywhere on Dating Coach on Wheels. datingcoachonwheels.com.
Okay.
And then you'll get all my links to like YouTube and Instagram and all that stuff. But that's where I send out a weekly email, kind of covering like what I learned or did that week, and yeah, where all the projects I'm working on. So
Very cool. And congratulations. I know you just recently won an award for your independent film, correct?
yeah, so I was my friend made a documentary about me called Funny and Fearless, or she's starting the series. We did comedy together, and yeah, it won. She captured my story really well, and we just won best general submission at a local film festival. So that was really
I
cool.
love it. That's awesome. That's super exciting. I saw the film a few weeks ago and I was
Yeah,
very impressed. So I'm not surprised it won, but
yeah.
congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah. And then, so can people reach out to you if they're looking for some guidance in the dating world and some coaching?
Yeah, for sure. I'm figuring out how to best address that because there's a lot of people reaching out,
Okay.
and I need to either do webinars like this. Like this was really fun, so it gives me some ideas of possibly doing that. But yeah, just email me and um, I'll either address it in the blog post or I'll message you back with once I figure out that coaching system. I used to do one-on-one coaching, but I'm not doing that anymore. But I want to provide a way to answer people's questions and like
Mhm.
do like dating profile reviews and all that because it's super fun. I just need a way to do it that scales
Yeah, I love it.
so I can help everyone who needs help.
Fantastic. Well, we'll definitely link to all your projects and your website in the show notes. And I encourage everybody to check you out on Instagram and Facebook as well. And yeah, hopefully we'll be doing more of these. This was definitely a lot of fun, and appreciate your time and sharing your dating profile and your
Sure.
story and all the behind the scenes stuff. That was very much appreciated, and
Yeah.
I'm sure our viewers definitely took away some good pointers and information from it. So
Awesome. Thanks so
yeah,
much for organizing this, Estella. And
no
thanks to
problem.
everyone for joining. It was cool to interact with you guys in the comments and all that. So
Absolutely. Have a great Valentine's Day,
yeah.
and
Yeah. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
yeah, and happy dating, everyone.
Yeah. Bye.
Take care.